Om Namah Shivaya. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So let's do the Shanti Patha for first class of the morning. Just repeat after me each line. Om Bhadram Karnebhihi Shrunuyam Devaha. Om Bhadram Karnebhihi Shrunuyam Devaha. Bhadram Pashyema Akshabhiryajatraha. Bhadram Pashyema Akshabhiryajatraha. Sthirairangaistuštuvagumsastanubhihi. Sthirairangaistuštuvagumsastanubhihi. Vyashema devahitam yadayuhu. Vyashema devahitam yadayuhu. Swastina indro vridhashravaha. Swastina indro vridhashravaha. Swasti naf pusha vishvavedaha. Swasti nas pusha vishvavedaha. Swasti nas tarksho arishtanemihi. Swasti nas tarksho arishtanemihi. Swasti no brihaspatir dadhatu. Swasti no brihaspatir dadhat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Before we begin the continuation of the third verse, a short announcement. So at 10:30 we are going to have a visit from a very important person, a very interesting person, worthwhile listening to, that I had a chance to interact with this morning. This was introduced to us by Sri Rakesh Sharma, who is also here. He is on the board of directors along with me to the ashram, and he's well connected to people in India, and through him there is a very accomplished Ayurvedic doctor who lives in Varanasi, and he's a professor there, and more than that, he is a very well-known doctor with literally hundreds of thousands of people who are waiting to get diagnosed about their diseases and so on. Very highly placed person. So somehow we managed to get him for a few days, and he has not much command of English. So most of the time he speaks in Hindi with Sanskrit. He knows Sanskrit very well, but his language is Hindi. So accompanying him is another a very big scholar of Ayurveda. The person I'm talking about, his name is Sushil Dubey. His name is Vaidya Sushil Dubey. And then Mr. Tripathi that comes with him knows English. So we will have both of them here for about half hour. And they will give some explanation of what Ayurveda is, and possibly, depending upon time, you may have an opportunity to get your pulse analyzed by him, as I did this morning. So his time is limited. But we will see how that could be, who is interested, and how many people he can see. That will be determined later. But at least an introduction to him will happen at 10:30. Okay, so I appreciate your cutting the time between the two classes, and then we will start our class at 11 o'clock, so that is not affected. Okay, so that's the... Let's chant verse number 3. So again, I'll divide that into 4 portions, and you can just chant after me. Na karmana na prajaya dhanena, na karmana na prajaya dhanena, tyage naike amritatvamanshuhu, tyage naike amritatvamanshuhu, parena nakam nihitam guhayam, parena nakam nihitam guhayam, vibhrajate yat yatayo vishanti, vibhrajate yat yato vishanti. Okay. So we've already started to understand what the verse is saying. We got a lot of it. Na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena, amritatvam anashuhu. The sense of completeness is not possible through what we think we can do to achieve that. That's a mistake, because there are limitations in karma, in all the other ones as well. Really, the karma is the primary one that confuses us, because we are used to action. Everything is a... See, this is the thing that we should see. If you want to just make a note of it, to really do it here, and to make a note of it here, and then work on it and understand it. There is a thing called sadhana and sadhya. Right? These are the two. So it all comes from the dhatu siddh. Siddh means to establish. So from there you have various forms. You have sadhaka. Sadhaka means the one who wants to accomplish is called a sadhaka. That's you and I. Then it is sadhana. That means what are the instruments for me to accomplish is called sadhana. And sadhya means what is to be accomplished. What is to be accomplished is called sadhya, sadhana, sadhaka. So all these are variations from the same dhatu, same verb. Then there is a word called siddha. Siddha means already accomplished. You must have heard this. He's a siddha purusha. So this is the word that is used for jivan muktas, for people that have, people like Ramana Maharshi and others. It is very interesting. We keep reciting Ramana Maharshi as an example of siddha purusha, as though it is very rare. It's not the case. And even I also didn't know until I started investigating, reading, so on. There are literally hundreds and thousands of people in India who are siddhas. Not thousands, I would say probably less than 100. They are there. They are there. They are not famous. They don't have the name. They may not even have a lot of following. But they are there. There is a book by Swami Akhandananda that is kind of partially a biography and partially an autobiography of Swami Akhandananda. A kind of a combination of both of them. And very interestingly enough, this was recommended to me, given to me, not recommended. He is gifted me by the head of the Chinmaya mission, uh, Swami Tejomayananda, who lives in Mumbai now. He has relinquished the post of the head of, he used to be the head of the Chinmaya mission, and now he's given it to somebody else. But he is now a sannyasi living in the very accomplished person. So it so happened in a few years back, we both, we have some common friends, and he also knows me, and I have met him also a couple of times. But he doesn't know me that well, but at least there's some acquaintance. We have a common friend. So a few years back, we shared the joy of understanding Swami Akhandananda. So once he found that out, that I'm also one of the students of Swami Akhandananda, he also is a student of Swami Akhandananda. So through this common friend, he sent some books to me, and one of them is this autobiography of Swami Akhandananda. It's called Pavana Prasanga. It's in Hindi, of course. All the books by Swami Akhandananda are in Hindi only. And I think that we have gotten, some of our students have already ordered that, maybe about 8 or 10 copies of it. A remarkable book. I tell you, it's just... And you know what it is that when you read a biography, it seems like it's just, why should I know anything about anything? I read the biography of Einstein, and that was very educational to me because I learnt a lot about science through the biography. Similarly here, this Pavana Prasanga book, even though it is just a biography, there's a lot of Vedanta in it. There's a lot of discussion about what happened, how these people came to a Mahatma, what questions they were asking, and how they got answered. In the process of doing that, you get educated. Marvelous book. In that book, this is what I started with, he has said, there are Mahatmas sitting by the bank of a river that nobody knows about until you approach them and you start talking about life and who you are. And then you say, my goodness, they have a very good idea, very excellent, complete idea of what's going on. And they may not even promote it. So it's not just Ramana Maharshi. It is just like lots of people that have reached that kind of a stage. And so that's an interesting thing to see. And it also shows, at least showed it to me when I read this, it enthused me to thinking it is a realistic possibility for me in this life, although time is running short, but it is realistic for me to achieve that kind of a status. It's very possible. Because when you talk about Ramana Maharshi, you feel, once in a million, what am I going to do, and so on. That's not the case. If we just follow the right steps and so on, you can be completely free. And also, you can, as I've mentioned this before, this is also something to be done. It's not as though you see the confirmation at the very end. We were just talking about that, I think, in lunch or dinner time, that when you're very hungry, what you want is a sense of satisfaction. In fact, this is a very interesting thing. I'll mention this to you, what Swami Dayanandji has once told us. So this is what is called alam buddhi. Alam buddhi. Alam buddhi means enough. I don't need anything more. I don't need anything more. Alam buddhi. This alam buddhi amazingly enough, comes after each meal. Of course, by Jivan Mukti, it comes in the Jivan Mukta. For a moksha, for a person who has achieved moksha, it becomes alam buddhi. That is exactly what the sense is, that I don't need anything. I'm okay the way I am. Nothing. It's called alam buddhi. But very interestingly enough, it doesn't happen in any other situation. Any other situation, it doesn't happen. Supposing you buy a stock, and then suppose this stock has done much better than what you thought. Much better. This has happened to me. I have bought some stock in which I've lost a lot of stock also. So I'm not even talking about that. I'm just telling you about the ones that I've really made some good money on. You would think that I will be very satisfied with that I'm done. No. In fact, I made such a stupid mistake. I'm talking about the Nvidia stock. This Nvidia stock has made so much money. So this is about 5-6 years ago, I bought some Nvidia stock and it did well. And then I thought, I don't know if I think I'll sell half of it. The biggest mistake I did. I sold half of it. I still have the other half and still made good money. But the sense of making more money means you want to make even more money. There is no alam buddhi in buying stock. But amazingly enough, honestly, this is Ishvara's gift. This is what is called Annadanam, is so precious. Giving food to people is the best punya that one can do. Honestly. You know why? Because other than moksha, you get some temporary moksha at the end of a meal. How is that? Because supposing you start eating, and this is what happens to us. You have, idlis are sitting there and you go there. Should I take one idli? So you say, no, maybe I should take two. And I says, no, today it's too heavy. I'm just going to take one. Then you finish that idli. Then you say, I think there is some more still back there. I should get some more idli. So this feeling goes on until when? How many idlis are you going to eat? One, maybe two, maybe three. I've never seen anybody. These are big size idlis, the ones that they make here. You probably can't eat any. Even if this is what happened, remember about the laddu? This gentleman who turned 71 and so the laddu was, motichur laddu, so wonderful, we should have that. And sometimes I see people, some of them got two of them. Okay, so 2 laddus. Then as you are eating laddu, this guy walks in and says, no, this is my birthday, you have to have one. So you say, no, I already have 2. He says, no, you have to have another one. At that time you have alam buddhi. You cannot eat anymore. That sense of satisfaction is called alam buddhi. So this alam buddhi is our goal. So otherwise we have a sense of something more. And that is done through karma. Through karma. I want more. And I was just talking to Rolando at breakfast time. There is no end to karma. You cannot say all the karmas are exhausted and now that's not done. This is part of the Vedanta. We should see this very clearly. Each karma generates new results. Each result generates new karma. It just goes on and on. And the best thing to do is to understand how long is it going to go on. And so this is what is Tyagena does. the Tyaga. Tyaga is the most important element for us to get permanent alam buddhi. You can only get permanent alam buddhi if it reflects your own reality that I am already free. Until you understand this, you will never get permanent alam buddhi. Not possible. But it is a fact. You don't need alam buddhi. You are a complete person. This I don't understand. Yes, I don't understand. How do I understand? So this is what this verse is saying. By karma, by prajana, by dhana, amritatva manashu naha. Not possible. Then this alam buddhi, parena nakam, because heaven is also not alam buddhi. See, that's a very interesting thing to see. That even for reaching heaven, and of course in heaven, this is what happens at the end of the 1 week in Hawaii, you have even more of a desire. Never ending. So the alam buddhi can be done through one thing, which is tyaga. And so we can talk a little bit about this, and then we go to the last one, which is called nihitam guhayam. So here in this tyaga, I point out I should have done a better job of really noting exactly these references. I tried to do that in California, but anyway, I think it's here. This is not a very long dissertation. Oh yeah, here it is. On page 73. Okay. This is this is Swami Viditatmananda's explanation of what was explained to us by Swami Dayanandji. Our sense of possessing something like a house or a family and friends and so on should be seen in the light of this knowledge to be a crutch. This is a very important thing for us to really look at. These things are crutches. When do we need a crutch? A crutch is where I cannot do without a crutch, isn't it? You have some problem with your knees or legs or ankles or whatever, and you cannot walk by yourself. You're not independent in walking. So you need some apparatus to help you walk. That's what's called a crutch. So it should be seen that once you understand Vedanta, once you get a glimpse of it, once you get an introduction to it, where you say, I am an independent person, I don't need anything to negotiate my life. This is the message that is given to you confidently and supportingly by Vedanta. It's not just a idle claim. This is like that guy who said, did you say that you lost the 10th man? Is that your problem? So they said, yes, but isn't that a big problem? But that problem doesn't exist. So this is what is called an apta purushaha. So similarly here, the Shastra is like an apta purushaha, which says, do you know you are person is kind of like, supposing there is a healthy person. This is what happens. We have a 3-year-old granddaughter. So she, we have a lot of glasses, eyeglasses, they're lying around in the home. And some for nearsighted, some for farsighted. Pummy has some, and I have some. So when she comes in, she's very fond of putting them on. So we said, first of all, it's not good for them to. But she says, no, I need to put. Because she sees us putting them on, so she says, I need to put them on. She walks around blindfolded like this, and she looks very pretty when she has it. So we take her picture. And then after we take the picture, we says, put it down now. She says, no, I want to keep on doing it. It's something like this. We don't need glasses. But just because we are used to it, we think we need things. So this is an important thing to see, and I'll just develop it for a few minutes and then I will go on. So, for a sadhaka, for a student, it should be seen that my possessions are like a crutch. They are like crutches. I need them in order to be happy. I think I need them. You see, that's the thing. It's not that I need them. You don't need them, but you think you need them. You think you need societal support, family, all of this. You need them. When in fact, what needs to happen is, even if you do need crutches for a while, granted, it is not like the case of my granddaughter who doesn't even need it, but supposing you do need crutches, but after a while through physical therapy or something, you should get rid of the crutches and walk alone. You should be able to do that. But if you start to like the crutches, and crutches is only one thing, then you have these walkers. And now, of course, in US, my gosh, they have these motorized things. People just go around in a chair, especially in the airports and so on. You need. See, there is a big abuse. People can actually walk, but you feel like, I don't want to walk for so long, so you might as well get a chair. You don't need a chair, but people that need it, that of course they should get it. The point is that we are dependent on so many things for our happiness, and it's a mistake. So what am I supposed to do? How can I be happy? Because I have a firm conclusion that unless I have family, unless I have friends, unless I have money, unless I have a house, I cannot be independent. What will I do? To negate that whole thing, you need to take tyaga. And this is what the beginning of that process is when we have the swamis that you see at lunchtime. All these people, they're wearing all these ochre clothes. They may not be Jivan Muktas yet. Who knows they are or not? I'm not saying they are or they are not. I should say that most of the swamis are not Jivan Muktas. But they are tyagis because they are discovering, so see this carefully, they are discovering the joy of non-attachment. For a casual person, it seems like, what kind of a life do they have? They don't have any friends, they don't have any relatives, they don't have any, you know, so what it must be? It must be boring, or it must be... you used to look at your own life when do you feel at least relative alambuddhi, that I'm okay, I'm fine. We are always seeking support from outside. But it's very possible that through tyaga, you discover, so it's a process. It's a process. Again, the same thing that I've talked about before, that if you want alam buddhi at the end of a meal, that doesn't mean that you don't get partial alam buddhi by just eating one idli. In fact, by eating one idli, it confirms that you're going towards alam buddhi nicely. That's why you want another one. Another one. And then at the end of that, you say enough. But even the process of eating is giving you partial satisfaction. Similarly, for the tyagis that you see, when they first, I don't know, I didn't take tyaga, thanks to my wife, she wouldn't let me. But if I were to take tyaga, in the beginning I may have some doubts, that did I do the right thing? And you probably you're missing all the people and so on. But slowly you discover this is not a bad life. I'm being myself. And of course in India we have a very beautiful system that the society supports all these sadhus. Here it may not be possible because you have to earn money, you have to do a lot of number of things. But in India, food is given to them, and we support and appreciate the life of a tyagi. So this is the life of a tyagi. Outside that, for you and I, what do we do? This is the question. So here, our acharyas give a number of number of points, and in reading Swami Akhandananda's advice and biography and talking to millions of people, lakhs of people, not millions, but lakhs of people, a couple of important things come up. So this is what we need to really focus on. So the fundamental thing he says that we have to really work on in order to discover the joy of tyaga. So that's what it is. It is really all for us to actualize the promise of these things, we have to discover the joy of tyaga. And until we discover that, we are not going to be satisfied. That's easily done if you eat the first idli, because it immediately says, yeah, you're going in the right direction. Your hunger is already 20% down. But how do we know that I should really do tyaga until I understand that I'm 20% better? So it is pointed out, the fundamental problem we have is we have a sense of possession which is over and beyond what is necessary. So Swami Akhandanandaji gives this example, Swami Dayanandaji also. I'm just giving Swami Akhandananda's example because it's recent. I've been reading that a lot in the last 3-4 years. But I have been with Swami Dayanandaji for the last 40 years, so his ideas are also incorporated in that. main thing you see is you have a you, not you, I'm just, both you and I, we have a false sense of happiness when we have a close relationship with our children as being mine. So you can see this. If you read a news about a child being hurt in an accident, you say, oh, that's too bad. Then you go on. And you go on. If you get the news that your own granddaughter is hurt, so that's the thing. If you find out that your own relative, some child has been, or your own son or your daughter has been hurt, you have a certain responsibility of taking care of that which is not there in the other child, because somebody hopefully will take care of the other child. So that part of it is okay, that is appropriate. But the pain in your heart that you have because it is your own child, not somebody else's, is unwarranted. Is unwarranted. It is not something that is necessary, and it can be negated. How do you negate it? By two ways. One is that you should appreciate, so it's a push-pull process. Push-pull process means that, so before I give you this push-pull process, let me give you an example. And this is also happens all the time. And and it happens with people that have boys, not girls. This has happened mostly with boys. So typically here's a scenario. So you have a 3-year-old boy, 4-year-old boy, and he's got some toys, some little cars and doodads and so on. Then you go to visit a friend for lunch, and they have a 70-year-old boy. This 70-year-old boy has got better tools, better cars, big ones, and so on. So this 4-year-old goes there, and his eyes get open. Oh my God, this is so wonderful. And of course, what the 4-year-old, what it does is, he starts playing with them, and then he starts to walk off with it. And so the 70-year-old says, no, that's my toy, where are you going? So he says, I don't know whose is it, I just like this. This is it. Now there is a big crying thing, and the mothers get involved, and they, don't do this. And he says, no, let him have it for a while, you can return it. No, all kinds of things. This mother is very clever, because this has happened before. She's used to this. She takes out this chocolate from her back pocket and says, you give that up, you can have this chocolate. So this guy is also very clever. He loves chocolates. So he goes back and forth for a while. He says, okay, I'll take the chocolate. This is our situation. We cannot give up a sense of possession unless something better is there. You cannot. This is why the study first has to be introduced in a way that the possibility of having a chocolate is there. Otherwise, I don't give up. Why should I give up? I enjoy the fact that I've got my own kids and grandkids and friends and so on. They're mine, yeah. If something happens to them, that's fine, that's okay. Because that's what life is. This is the way I look at things. There is something better. And that better means, so this is what is called, remember that? He says, Shraddha Bhakti Dhyanam. Dhyanam. Dhyanam means you have to think about what you already have. It has to be discovered. That mind has to be created through meditation, study, shravanam, vichara, as Swamiji Viditatmanandaji was saying. That vichara means deliberation, thinking. And from there you develop a sense of fullness. And when you develop that sense of fullness, completeness, satisfaction, alam buddhi type, compared to that, the dukkha of relationships starts to melt, starts to go away. You start to evaluate. You start to evaluate what is already yours and unappreciated, and what is not yours and overappreciated. So this kind of a thinking becomes very real, very palpable. So you enjoy just being who you are, because you have discovered a certain peace, a sense of fullness, sense of completeness. This is what is, and it's yours. It's not dependent on any conditions. Nothing needs to be done. So this needs to be discovered. When that is done, you now have a reason to discard your attachments to the others. This is the process we have to follow. And so it is not necessary to take sannyasa. If you take sannyasa, then this process gets accelerated indefinitely. So they are very fortunate they have taken this step, though, to really formalize it. No doubt about it. But make no mistake about it. Unless you have made a big mistake taking sannyasa too quickly, most sannyasis are very satisfied with their life, happy. Even though they don't have any possessions. They don't have any children, no sisters, brothers. They may have sisters, brothers, but they don't depend on it. You don't say, you haven't written it to me or something. Swami Viditatmananda and Swami Dayanandji. I know Swami Dayanandji's family. We met his mother when she was still alive. Pami and I, we both went to Manjukudi. And he has lots of brothers. I just saw his brothers. In fact, they survived Swami Dayanand. So I know his family. So it's not as though you discard them, you don't see them. But you don't have that same sense of attachment. And that happens to all the Swamis. That degree of independence is possible through Tyaga. So this is the meaning of this verse. Beautiful verse. And this is why we chant it. You remember, you will see this verse being chanted as part of our chanting. Na karmana na prajaya dhane na tyage naike amritatvavānashu parena nakal nihitan guhayam viprajate yatoyo vishanti. So now the only thing to expound on, and then we can go on to the next verse, is nihitam guhayam. You may have noticed that we have not yet commented on that. Nihitam guhayam. What does that mean? Let's see how it says. Yeah. Nihita means situated in the cave of the heart. So what does it mean? So what this refers to is the fact that the discovery of this whole thing about the independence from dependencies, the Atma, all the things that we're talking about and so on. Where does it, so this is always a feeling that, you're saying that I am the Atma, I am this, and so on. What do I need to do? What do I need to do? So this is, obviously we have already rejected karma as a way. Why? Because, so please understand this very clearly. This is something very simple but also very profound and not easily understood and glossed over. So that's all I can do is to tell you from my own life and from reading and so on. And so this also very goes back to this definition of the word sadhaka, sadhana, sadhya, all this. Okay? So just listen to this part very carefully. Generally speaking, what our life consists of is acquiring things that we don't have, right? Which is apraptasya praptihi, as we have discussed it. We have already gone through that several times. This is what our life consists of. And what is the primary sadhana for that? Karma. Jnanam is secondary, primary is karma. And also, there is a gap between where I am now and where I want to be. So this is what is called sadhya. Sadhya means the one is to be accomplished. And for that certain sadhanas are necessary, which is karma. Karma is the sadhana for the sadhya. Okay? Now, are you a sadhya? Do you need to go somewhere to be yourself? You are yourself. There is somebody yourself. Are you trying to reach a different object? No. It's a very funny situation. I am what I am, but I don't appreciate what the Shastra is saying, that you are okay the way you are. I don't feel I'm okay the way I am. So naturally I'm looking around, doing things. And my conclusion is, even though my conclusion is, it is completely idiotic, that I will find myself to be adequate if I do some things. So that means that I am converting a praptasya prapti into apraptasya prapti. Isn't it? I'm not accomplished yet. I need to be somebody who is accomplished. So this is the approach of apraptasya prapti. But in fact, the problem is not that I'm a sadhya. I'm a siddha. I'm already accomplished. But the accomplished I is not understood. Why is it not understood? It is some confusion in my own mind. This is the meaning of nihitam guhaya. Nihitam guhaya means guha. means a cave. What is characteristic in a guha is darkness. What is characteristic about darkness is that it hides reality. Hides reality. I don't know if you've seen this, but anytime you go to a new place when there is a complete darkness, even normal where furnitures are and so on and so forth, you run into it, you cannot tell where it is. This happens even in these rooms that you are taking it. Supposing you completely shut off all light and then you say, where was the bed again? It is very interesting. You completely lose your, where is north, where is south. This happens to me sometimes. You come out of the bathroom and it's completely dark and you think the bed is over here, but it's over here. So the darkness is a very interesting thing. And very importantly, nidra is a darkness. It's a very powerful darkness. Sleep is one of the most powerful darknesses in the world. Because in normal darkness hides a few things, like a bed or a table or a chair that you can bump into and so on. Nidra hides the whole thing. Very fascinating thing, really. Completely hides it. Not only hides it, it just makes it disappear as though it's not there. This is why it is said, our Shastra says, this is very interesting. If you have two people, one who is a very good person, he's a sadhu, never does bad to anyone. The other person is a murderer. He's a serial murderer. He has killed 13 women already and he wants to get the next one. He's a serial killer, not an ordinary criminal. When they both go to sleep, their state is the same. Amazing. Amazing. This is how powerful Nidra is. Nidra is nothing but Maya. It is just amazing. So therefore, Nihitam Guhayam. Nihitam Guhaya means, how is it that I am seeking myself if it is praptasya prapti, if I am already accomplished? How is it that I don't understand it? How is that possible? Somewhere in the recesses of your mind, there is darkness. That's all. That's all. That's it. There's nothing more than that. You just have to put light in your mind and you'll be done. There's nothing to be done, there's no karma involved, not going anywhere. You are what you are. You just have to remove the confusion, the mistake. Remember, the very first thing we said was that the Advaita Vedanta's tenets of the Advaita Vedanta is that the whole thing is a mistake. You don't have to do anything. That was the first thing I did. This is what it is. This is what is captured very briefly in this word. It says, so he says that all these yatayaha, all these yatis, they discover that parena nakam vibhrajate. Parena nakam means this alam buddhi. You are the generator of the alam buddhi. You're not even the alam buddhi. But the alam buddhi reflects the fact of your completeness, your sense of infinity. which shines automatically. Yes, I am Satchidanandaha. So that's what he says, that you cannot achieve this by karma or etc. By tyagena alone, that you should do this. So this is the verse. I think we have spent enough time on that. I'll just read the fourth verse, and then when we meet again. So you can just follow after me each line. Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartha Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartha. One more time. Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartha Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartha Sannyasa Yogat Yataya Shuddha Sattva Sannyasa Yoga Yataya Shuddha Sattva Te Brahma Lokeshu Para Antakale Te Brahma Lokeshu Para Antakale Ye Te Brahma Lokeshu Para Antakale Te Brahma Lokeshu Para Antakale Paramritat Parimucyanti Sarve Paramritat Parimucyanti Sarve Paramritat Parimucyanti Sarve Paramritat Parimucyanti Sarve. Oh, you know why I made a mistake? I'm doing with swaras when there are no. I just discovered that prayer book has all the swaras. Okay, so how do we do that? I think we need to because for you to chant these, it'll be nice to do it with swaras. Somehow we need to put the diacritical marks on it. I mean, I can do that on my book, but you have to do that on yours. Possibly, you know what we can do? Or we can make copies of that page. Either one. Yeah, you're right. You all think in terms of cell phones. I think about paper. I'm an old-fashioned guy. So, yeah, but I think that we should do that. We should get a copy of, if in fact one of you can please take that book, that yellow paper book pages, and take a copy of that and get the office and make about 20 copies and distribute it to everybody. That would be good to do. So after, it doesn't have to be done right away, but before we leave, I think it'd be good to do that. Because these are chantable verses and very important verses. So it'll be good for you to not only read it, but also be able to chant it. Okay? So we'll meet again. So we'll meet again only at 10:30. I'm hoping that I'm going to talk to Rakesh to bring these gentlemen here. And I'm not sure how it's going to go, because he doesn't communicate in English. And so the other person has to translate it. So we'll see how it can. We'll see. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.